Hello, everybody. My name is Amar Jaju, and you're watching Dialogue at Nation Next. Today, we have a very special guest with us. He's a businessman, he's a wildlife photographer. He wears multiple hats over the years. He has made a name for himself as a wildlife photographer. He's a Nikon India influencer, he's a Wacom India brand ambassador. He's also a mentor to actors Randeep Hooda and Raveena Tandon. Let's welcome Sarosh Lodhi with us.
Hello. Thank you so much for the appreciation. And this is my first time in your thing, but then I remember having shared some images when you had launched. So it's really exciting to be back on your forum again.
थैंक यू सो मच सरोज फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा कि यू आर अ बिजनेसमैन एंड यू आर अ सेल्फ टॉट फोटोग्राफर सो हाउ डिड द फोटोग्राफी बग बिट यू एंड हाउ डिड यू चूज वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी एज योर पैशन
So wildlife was never my thing. Actually, one of my friends who was constructing a resort in Kanha. So he has been after me to come to. Back then he was after me to go to a wildlife destination with him to the same place where he was making this resort, and I kept on giving one excuse or the other because I am a total teetotaler. I thought, what would I do over there? So then, it came to दोस्ती पे बात आ गया. So he said, you have to come this time. And then I went along, and then ever since then, I think I've been so badly bitten by this bug that I cannot think about not going to the jungle anymore.
आपने 23 साल पहले यू स्टार्टेड डूइंग वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी तब में और अब में बहुत अंतर है चीज़ें चेंज हुई इक्विपमेंट चेंज हुआ तो मुझे बताइए हाउ हैज़ द जर्नी बीन सो फार
Yeah, so when I started, basically उस टाइम पे इंटरनेट था नहीं, सोशल मीडिया का प्रेजेंस उतना नहीं था जितना आज है. इंटरनेट यूज़ होता था गूगल सर्चेस के लिए, मेल्स भेजने के लिए, और कुछ नहीं होता था. तो बेसिकली व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड इट वाज जस्ट द बेसिक SLR कैमराज, जो रोल वाले होते हैं, कन्वेंशनल SLR कैमराज. दैट इज हाउ वी स्टार्टेड. एंड उसमें every time I went to the forest, it was like experimenting with a machine, with a gear, and we never knew the result. Now, though, it is very easy. You have to just click a picture, flip the camera to see what you've clicked, and what is there. But back then, it was so exciting because you've spent 2-3 rolls or 5 rolls on a particular sighting. You come back, and before going to the house to clean yourself up, you would rush to the lab to get those rolls printed. And only to realize that all of them have gone, bad. I mean, none of the subject is visible. The light is too low. So that is how we've learned, and it has been pinching to the pocket so very badly because each roll costed, multiple of multiple of hundreds. And then we were in college at that point of time, so it was really tough back then. But then we've learned the hard ways, I can tell you. So it's been an interesting journey so far.
from running to the lab to get those pictures out of the rolls to the equipment that you use today. Tell me, what kind of equipment you use today?
So imagine from a conventional SLR to when the times change, the DSLR. So we have to catch up with times and technology, and then to mirrorless now. So it has been 3 different generations of technology in camera equipments that I've used, and it's a phenomenal experience because each type of machine, each type of gear that you're using, it kind of teaches you something. And you have to remain abreast with technology because otherwise you're far behind in the crowd. Now anyone who picks up a DSLR is a wildlife photographer right from day one, and which is not a bad thing. People are going to the jungles. It's a good thing. People are learning, understanding the plight of animals. They are understanding the situation there, understanding the problems faced by the locals. So it's a good thing. Photography is drawing them closer to understanding the plight. But then let's use these terms as wildlife photographer or conservationist very, 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 very carefully, because these are very important and very big terms. Doing 1 or 2 acts of conservation doesn't make anyone a conservationist. Similarly, clicking a couple of pictures in a forest will not make one a wildlife photographer. Moreover, what is happening right now is basically people are using pictures for social media, which shouldn't be the thing. They are clicking pictures to post it in social media for whatever likes and followers they want to have. It should be the other way around. Your pictures should drive people automatically to your Instagram account, not the other way around. you should be taking pictures for your own self first, if you're an artist, and then you can talk about, how much creativity is put in those pictures, so that people start liking you, they start following you, not the other way around. I get a lot of requests these days that they would want me to follow them back, or they would want me to post their pictures. But then I've received no help earlier when I started off, so I asked them to learn, or let it, let it flow with the process shouldn't be cut short. So that is what it is.
Before this interview, you said that आप एक जगह से कमाते हैं और दूसरी जगह गवाते हैं. आप अपने बिजनेस से कमाते हैं और जंगल में गवाते हैं. तो मुझे बताइए कि हाउ ऑफन डू यू विजिट जंगल्स?
So there are two things to it. One is before pandemic and after pandemic. So before pandemic, I would say I would be in the jungle once in every week or 10 days. So that was a frequency. After pandemic, things have slowed down a little bit for everyone. So you have to worry more about your business, like it wasn't the case earlier. You also have to see the lockdowns, the RT-PCR tests, the rules and regulations here and there, and also the kind of active COVID cases that are there in the vicinity, because you don't want to carry the virus there or take it back from there. So you have to make sure that you're completely isolated, and when you reach there. So I would say now the numbers have gone down. I would say I would do about once in 15-20 days. So that is how the frequency is right now.
Central India has a lot of jungles around. So which is your favorite preference of jungle if you want to visit?
So I've been teasing my friends quite a lot, people who are not from Nagpur. So I tell them that you start off in any direction and you roll your car, you'll end up in some jungle or the other. And this is precisely the scene in Nagpur. You head in any direction whatsoever, you're in some forest, which is a very interesting thing. And all those people who are, living in Bangalore or other metros, I tease them that जितना time तुम्हारे को office जाने को लगता है उतना में मैं जंगल पहुंच जाता हूँ.
Photography is a lot about patience, and especially wildlife photography. So when you go to the jungle and when you click your pictures, how long do you typically wait for your shots? And what has the longest duration been where you have waited for a particular picture?
Basically, what is happening is people see whatever I post, or any other photographer goes to the jungle and posts some images. So any sighting happening and people capturing it gets posted on social media. There must have been hundreds of trips where I've gone and not seen anything. And people think that I'm lucky because every time I go, I see. But that's not the case. There are so many trips that I've been there and I've not sighted anything. So I want to put it on record. I've also put it so many times on my social media accounts. And this is an important aspect to understand. Having said that, I would say that, going to the jungle is a fun thing. People should enjoy it in toto rather than focusing just on one particular animal. My idea is, when you go to the forest, as a photographer, anything which appeals to my eyes as an artist, I click that. It could be a web with a spider in it, or without the spider in it. It could be a bird or a tiger or anything. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, there are so many tigers around that even if you go out for birding, you end up clicking a tiger and coming back. So that is how it is. Having said that, I also want to add that, you asked about the longest wait that I've had to, for a particular shot. So there have been times that we waited for hours. But there is one particular interesting incident that I'd like to share with you, which is when I had gone to Tipeshwar, the first visit, and there weren't any people traveling to that place then. So we, as in Claude, decided to promote this park for tourism and all. So I went there for the first time, and we saw a particular pond, which is called Pilkhan. So where the locals told me that tigers do come to that particular area also, and it is a perfect natural setting for anything to be clicked. So I waited over there for a good number of hours and nothing happened. Subsequently, whenever I went to Tipeshwar, I made it a point to go and just park my vehicle over there and remain seated for hours together, just in the hope of clicking something in that pond. And this continued. I had gone there on the Feb of 2016, and Feb, March, April, May, I kept on doing the same thing. The cycle kept on repeating. And in May, I got a call from one of my friends there who had gone in the morning, and he saw tigers in the same pond. I immediately started my car and rushed to that spot. And I went there, and I was standing in this particular area, and that's when I realized that everyone before and behind me are able to click see tigers. And the guides and drivers kept on telling me कि थोड़ा आगे ले लेते हैं, वहां से दिख जाएगा. I said नहीं, मेरे को ये particular area से ही मेरे को photo खींचना है. So ultimately the tigers started moving in the opposite direction and everyone rushed there, because of which a huge area was, this area where I was standing was without any vehicles, and the tigers decided to come on that pond. So exactly the same place where I wanted them to come, it reached there, and it took me 4 or 5 months and repeated visits to this park to be able to click this.
So multiple days and hundreds of hours of waiting, and then you got to click that one picture. So tell me, you said interestingly that fortunately or unfortunately हमारे आसपास सेंट्रल इंडिया में इतने जंगल है और टाइगर्स भी बहुत सारे, तो आप टाइगर्स को ही हम लोग ज़्यादा पिक्चर्स देखते हैं जो लोग पोस्ट करते हैं. विच एनिमल वुड यू से अकॉर्डिंग टू यू, आपके एक्सपीरियंस से आपको सबसे डिफिकल्टी हुई है कैप्चर करने में?
So I would say birds for me is, I'm not too much into birds, but I was going to Goa, and that's when I came to know about a particular spot which was suggested by my friend, and this was in Zuri River, Zuri or Zuari, whatever that place is called. So I'm very scared of water. I cannot be in water for some incidents in the past. So I'm very scared of water. And then I asked my friend as to if I'm there in the boat, do they provide life jackets? He said, "You don't worry, bro. You don't need a life jacket because too many crocodiles are there in the water." So this did not ease me even a bit. It was even more scary. So drowning is still preferable than getting chewed by crocodiles. So then, so I went there, and it was for white-bellied sea eagle, and we clicked some images, which was the toughest. The boat was moving, my heart was also thumping like anything, and with that, all of that, we were clicking pictures. So it was a wonderful experience, scary one too.
While clicking pictures in a jungle, have you ever been too close to action? Like, a tiger has been very close to you.
So there was this rescue operation happening for tigress, wherein my friend was involved, and he asked me to come along with him to help him. He was not from Nagpur, so he needed some help. So I went there with him, and then I realized, we were looking for this tigress, and she had allegedly consumed a couple of human kills. So that's the reason why we were wanting to capture her. And we went and we were looking for her in different areas. There was a lot of growth, undergrowth everywhere, too much of greenery. It was post monsoon, so very thick cover everywhere. And that's when me and my friend are on foot, and we are trying to locate this tigress. The friend is carrying there are other people from forest department. They are carrying the tranquilizing gun. Yeah. And that's when we realized that this tigress is just about 20 meters away, and we could see her moving in the bushes, and she was really close. But then, tigers, as has been said, they are very gentlemanly. They do not attack just like that. So that has been closed. There have been other incidents wherein I am in a safari and being chased by a bison in Kanha. So that has happened twice. Tigers have mock charged. There was a very recent incident wherein I had gone to Bandhavgarh with Raveena and her daughter. And that's when one of the tigers decided to charge on us. And it came at full speed. And I was only too happy to click some images because, it would made a good picture, I thought. And it actually did. So there has been such incidents. But I would want to share it with your viewers that the best images are taken from far. So you do not take your vehicle too close to the subject because you end up messing up the image. So the more distance you keep between you and the subject, the better image wildlife images you can get.
Speaking about conservation, and you said आपको दूर से आपने बताया कि the tiger was killing humans and you guys were there to rescue it. So a very interesting use of the word rescue, because normally people would say catch the tiger or something like that. बहुत इंसिडेंट्स ऐसे हुए हैं, चंद्रपुर में ही डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं वेयर इट हैज बीन क्लेम्ड दैट tigers have turned into man eaters, and subsequently they have been brought down, bringing down a substantial population of tigers, and there has been poaching as well. So what do you feel about incidents like this?
So, with the growth in human population and the way we have been cutting across, uh, trees and forests for our selfish reasons, for maybe faster highways or railroads or whatever, these conflict, man-animal conflict, is bound to increase. And there has been so many incidents where poor, people living around these areas have had to pay the price of it. They've lost their family members. Some of them have lost kids, taken away by leopards or tigers or sloth bear attack. So this is very painful. Actually, this is a double-edged sword, I would say. You cannot side with either the wildlife or the locals in toto. It has to be a very, very balancing. I mean, it's a sensitive issue, and it has to have a very balanced approach. And no two cases in any region are alike. I mean, forget about a case in different states, even in the same state, different villages, the scenario would be different. So sometimes the crowd would be too hostile. Sometimes things can, it can go out of hand within seconds. So management remains a very important or crucial aspect when you're rescuing a wildlife. Uh, these incidents, I said, are bound to increase because of these reasons. But I would also appeal to people who are there on social media and start taking extreme sides. Sometimes people say that the villagers should be punished. Sometimes they say that the animals should be punished to the extent of directly culling, or if it's a human involved incident wherein animal has lost his life, they would want the man to be brought down, or severest of punishments. So it doesn't work that way. I mean, there's law and order. People have to understand that there's law for each and everything, and such emotions do not help the cause. So there is a word which has been coined by me, which I use very frequently, is hyperactivism. Activism is good. Anything excess of anything is not good. So hyperactivism is counterproductive. So that is all what I have to say.
Okay, fun question. If you were to suggest one destination which you would say is a paradise for wildlife photographers, what destination would that be?
India. so imagine that you've got everything in India. You've got deserts, you've got snow-capped mountains, you've got beaches, and you've got jungles. So before starting off to far off places, you can there's so much of area that you can explore in India and take some amazing pictures. You can be a landscape photographer. You can be clicking beaches, or you could be clicking wildlife, snow-capped mountains, anything, and there's so much of scope. So I would love people to explore more of India than going outside and start clicking elsewhere.
And if we speak particularly about Central India, what place would you see?
Kana is my favorite because, as I said, my first trip happened to Kana. So Kana remains my first love. And then I like Satpura, Bandhavgarh, Panna, Pench, and everything.
Let's talk pictures. There's one picture of yours. You have named it "Dancing Away to Glory." It's basically a monkey who's in some kind of position. It seems that he's dancing. That picture is in the final entries of a contest on BBC. It is called as the Comedy Wildlife Photo Award. So tell us about that. I mean, where did you click that picture, and how long did it take? Was it something that you wanted to click, or it just happened?
So this picture has been selected as a top 42 images, and one of them, and it is by Comedy Wildlife Photography Awards. So BBC has just shared one of those things in their articles. So basically, this picture, langurs are very funny animals, and whenever you're waiting, make sure that you're waiting around an area where there are too many langurs. They will keep you entertained, and they will make sure that your camera is always clicking. And that is what happened over this when this image was taken. So it is in Tadoba, where me and my family is not fond of wildlife, I must tell you that. So we were waiting for the tiger to show, and these langurs were just jumping around, having fun. They were playing with each other, and I kept focusing on one guy because I knew that this guy is a mischief chap. So mischievous chap. So I kept on focusing on him, and that's when that's when he decided and started to make his moves and jump around and do all kinds of things. And I was waiting for this incident to happen, and then immediately I let loose my shutter and took some images. So that is how it is.
Amazing picture, I must say that is. And the second picture that I want to talk about is the optical illusion of two zebras. That that picture that you clicked, it went viral on the internet. It was shared by so many people, and so many media outlets spoke about the picture. So tell us about that picture. And also, I think if I'm not wrong, I read it on in an article that you had to actually clarify that this is one image and not a photoshopped one. So where did you click that picture? What was that about?
Right. So when we went to Mara, we noticed. I mean, me and my friends were sitting around and just wanted to have some easy time, and we were clicking these zebras because though they are very common there, it's like for Indians it's a so we were clicking zebras, and I noticed these two zebras coming close to each other. I expected them to interact or maybe nuzzle or something like that, and I kept my focus on them. And that's when I realized that they are almost overlapping, and one of them starts looking towards me. And that's when I thought this is an appropriate time to make some images. So this image was later shared by my friend who was an IFS officer, Mr. Parveen Kaswan. When he shared it on Twitter, it became viral, and it has been, you name the country and it has been published there. It went extremely viral. People were confused as to which zebra is in front. Yeah, and till date I keep getting questions to these this particular image as to which one is in front. And sometimes I tease them. I let them rack the brain for some time, and then I give out the result. So it's been an interesting experience, and what my wait and time to click my image over there.
एक चीज़ बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग आपने कहा कि आपने जब हम लोग लंगूर्स की भी बात कर रहे थे, आपने कहा कि आपने देखा और आप वहाँ पे उनको देखते रहे, यू गॉट रेडी. सिमिलरली हम वो जब पॉइंट के पास टाइगर की भी बात कर रहे थे, सेम चीज़ आपने कहा, ज़ीब्रा के बारे में भी आप. वुड यू से दैट वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफी इज मोर अबाउट फोकस रादर देन द इक्विपमेंट पीपल आर सो क्रेजी अबाउट?
Yeah, it is about everything actually put together. So uh, you have to anticipate as to what the animal is going to do next, which is the crux of wildlife photography. You have to make sure that you are uh, knowing your camera in and out. You have to know that which buttons are there, which setting you want to use on a particular in a particular natural setting. Don't go full auto because auto doesn't make sense. You have to have your complete settings in your control before making that picture. So you have to understand the equipment, you have to understand the animal, the movement, anticipate the move. You have to be patient, which is another very important part, and keep your focus on a particular subject, not what comes in front of your camera, but what you would want to come in front of the camera, and then you can make images. So usually people go see the image and see something and they go cut without realizing. They are cutting the tail. Sometimes they are, so all kinds of mistakes happen. But it's also good because people learn from their mistakes and improve from there on. So I would advise people all of these things when they go to the forest.
Now, in this day and age where pictures get shared so easily on any social media, there's also a very high risk of somebody claiming the pictures as theirs. That I clicked this picture. What do you do to avoid these kind of things? That somebody claiming your pictures as theirs, and what should the other wildlife photographers should do as well?
Yeah, so this keeps happening very frequently, more so in India. Internationally, the copyright laws are very strict. So before coming for this interview, I had to write a mail to Amazon, because one of the users in Germany was using my picture. There is an owl picture, which he was using on pillows and different things without having approval from me. So I haven't licensed that picture to him. So I had to write a mail to them to take that image off. So you have to reverse search your images every now and then to make sure that your pictures are not illegally copied somewhere. And keep on doing that. Keep on checking internet for your images by doing a reverse image search. And watermarking doesn't help these days, because Photoshop or any other tool is so advanced that you can easily, remove the watermarks from the images. So people do copy. You just have to, name and shame them publicly for them to be discouraged to do it in the future.
You are a mentor to Randeep Hooda and Raveena Tandon. You are close friends with them. We have often seen Randeep's social media, Raveena's social media, your social media filled with pictures of your adventures in the jungle. So, how did you end up becoming a mentor to them?
So basically, I mean, they are very well known names in this field, in the field that they are doing. Plus, they have immense love for wildlife and animals. So both of them are very fond of animals. Uh, so general when the interests are alike, it's very easy to gel along with that person. And I was always following them on Instagram. Luckily, they also followed me back, and then we started talking and trips started happening. So all of that.
This was about Randeep. So, how did it happen with Raveena?
So Raveena, and I mean, I was obviously following her one pleasant morning. She also started following back, and she was going to so many jungles. I used to see her post from various jungles, and it's like more of, I mean, I was liking her images, she was liking my images. So it was more of a mutual admiration for each other for the wildlife photography and the thought of being so concerned about wildlife. So then we decided to go for a trip again. So it is almost similar, and then we went for this trip, and it was an amazing experience together.
Most people don't associate wildlife photography and conservation together, but they are very synonymous to each other. Now, speaking about those two things, you are the co-founder of Claw. Tell us something about that.
So Claw, as the name stands, is Conservation Lenses and Wildlife, which I co-founded in 2015. And this has been primarily, as I told you towards the beginning of our session, that I had no interest in wildlife. And back then, 23 years ago, when my friend dragged me to Kanha, that is how I started understanding, the problems of people living around there. When I picked up the camera, I started understanding the problems of animals around there. I started, when you go close to someone or some situation, you are able to see it closely and understand what are the issues that particular thing is happening. So basically, when you talk about photography, wildlife photography, you are making someone a conservationist to some extent. I mean, as I said earlier, conservationist is a big term. He takes those images. I mean, when he's going to the jungle, he's obviously paying for safari tickets, so he's generating revenue for the locals. So that's why I said, okay, you make him a bit of a conservationist. In terms of doing acts of conservation, people also get, completely, I would say they're very confused about this concept. So you can start conservation sitting from your home. When you're going for your next trip to the jungle, like I carry waste bags in my car boot. And whenever I'm in the jungle, I make sure that, I ask the authorities at the gate to collect all the waste, put it in the bag, especially the ones which are away from cities, or, where the gate is not close to any town or city or village. I ask the guards at the gate to put all the waste in the waste bag, and I bring it back to Nagpur to discard it in the waste, because Nagpur is a better waste management system. So people can do this. People can, generate from like-minded friends. They can, like we do in Claw, we have got a campaign which we run every 2 years, which is called Spread the Warmth, wherein we ask our members to send us sweaters or winter wear, and we distribute it all over. I mean, we have east, west, north, south, and center as a zone, and we distribute these items over there. So there is no money involved in this. You just need people to come along and do such kinds of things. So Claw remains a completely non-commercial group. None of us are experts or conservationists, I would say, but we have an intent to help wildlife or locals, and that is what we keep doing. Another thing that I'd like to add is Claw also maintains a data of all the tiger mortality in India year on year, which we are not supposed to be doing as a obligation, but we do it out of passion. So it is NTCA which keeps this data, us and maybe one or two more organizations. So we maintain this data. We help, we discuss with NTCA personnel as to what are the incidents missing from their records. Sometimes they share, or sometimes it is available on their website also. So sometimes we take it from their website. So it is a win-win situation. We are able to collate or get in more information for a particular data. So that is what we are doing. Then during the beginning of the pandemic, we tied up with the Tadoba Tiger Foundation Society and also Dudhwa Foundation Society. And we provided locals who are badly affected because of lack of tourism. We sent them, Tadoba we sent about 11,000 kgs of food grains and essentials to last for 3 months for 1,600 people. And this again has been completely non-commercial, where our group did not do the fund handling. It was Tadoba Foundation Society directly, and same thing happened in Dudhwa as well.
We spoke about the copyright laws in India and abroad. There's one more thing, that even though there are a lot of good wildlife photographers in India, I don't see a lot of them putting up their pictures for sale or auction, and it happens a lot abroad. So you have recently started, you recently put up your pictures for sale through NFT and crypto. So tell me, how does that work? And secondly, what are the avenues available to wildlife photographers to put their pictures up for sale?
So basically, monetizing wildlife photography is something that I keep asked about in a lot of sessions or on social media. So my advice is to youngsters who've just picked up the camera, just wait for 10 years, hone your skill. So there is something which I call moment photography. Don't get into moment photography. What you see, you start clicking. No, don't do that. You compose your images, make sure that the shot is good, the angle is right. Click some decent images for people to, own. For you to have people wanting to own your images. When you reach that spot, that level, that is when you start about monetizing your work. So the various means of monetizing is mentoring through these influencer things. Influencer types is what I meant. Then you can also, like my images are sold abroad. So you have syndicates with the various agencies, and they come up with offers on their own, and it is always like, if you are surprised by some amounts being transferred to your bank accounts by these agencies. So they are very transparent and very honest also. Most of these agencies are from UK, I must tell you that. So they are pretty decent in their dealings. Another aspect which has recently gaining momentum is selling through NFT. So photography, NFT has really caught up. It's really catching on right now. And people are wanting to sell and purchase images through photography NFTs. I just debuted on a foundation app, which is the thing for NFT art NFTs, and I've listed few of my works. It's been a very recent thing. So 1 or 2 of my works are listed on Foundation, 1 or 2 on OpenSea, which is another platform. So there are various platforms. I would urge you all to visit those platforms, search more about NFTs, and start investing your time in understanding this thing, because it's a new concept, and maybe you'll be able to monetize with it.
Thank you so much, Sarosh, for talking to us. All I would like to say is that it has been a wonderful interview with a lot of insight, for not only for our viewers, but wildlife photographers and budding wildlife photographers, I must say, and wildlife enthusiasts as well. I just hope that whenever you go to the jungle next time, I am there with you. Thank you so much.
Right, thanks.
Subscribe to Nation Next YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates from Nation Next. Also like Nation Next Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.